And we're live on the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Variety Talk Show series. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. And welcome to the show. You want to be entertained? You want to have some fun? Some light love, levity, and our famous JMS levity? Well, you found the right spot. This is your host, Jim Masters, welcoming everybody from all around the world to what we call Levity Hall. I didn't make up the name. You guys did. I was saying the show has a lot of light, love, and levity one time and stumbled, said it too fast over the New Yorker, right? Talking fast, East Coast style fast. And I said light, love, and levity, said love and levity too fast. And boom, out of this mouth came globally around the world, the word levity. And you guys said, now don't drop the E in love, Jim. Keep the E. All right. So we kept the E. Don't take the O and drop it and replace it with you. So we didn't do that. So I said, how do you want to spell it? And you guys said, I think Loveity. And that's what it is. We're not only going to have a lot of levity today, we're going to have a lot of levity as well. Special guest, fabulous actress, comedian extraordinaire, founder and teacher of Fresh Faces stand-up comedy workshop in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. Lesley Wolff is joining us, and we were just having some fun. If you guys only know what it takes to put things together like shows, whether it's television, radio, film, internet, just stage, there's so much work that goes behind the scenes just to make even the slightest of things happen. So we were having some fun. She was doing pretty much a light show. She had a disco ball going in her kitchen, and then she had strobe lights, and then she had some sort of spirit light to the left of her. She had the skylights on. She was playing with the shade up and down to make sure that that looked good. She changed her blouse 3 times, flipped her hair on the other side, put on a necklace, took the necklace off, threw blush on, took the blush off, put the blush back on. All of that because she wants to present a great experience for you, as do I. Do you believe any of that? Yeah, maybe about half true. Yeah, we were just testing lighting and all kinds of cool stuff. Hope you guys are doing well. Incredibly busy. We had a phenomenal family vacation, as you guys know, like 16 days, and the Sunshine State, and we were sharing some of that adventure with all of you on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where you can find me at Jim Masters TV. And thanks for all the comments and everything else that you've shared on those social media platforms. And back north now in the Northeast here in the greater New York area, but not for long because we are headed now to the West Coast. Yes, getting on another plane. I must have a hankering for those peanuts again that they serve. That's about all you get. Peanuts and maybe a cookie and some ginger ale, and you're good for $1,000 each way. So we're headed back to the West Coast because I've got a multi-day television project that starts tomorrow. So we're out of here at like 8 a.m. tomorrow, flying to Denver and then to California for that project. But all kinds of great guests are coming up. Extraordinary. Kicked off the year. You know, we've done we're approaching almost 1,000 episodes in just 2.5 years, which is amazing. Thanks to all of you. I just want to personally thank you for your support, your love, your levity, watching, sharing the links, celebrating what we're doing here, bringing back the lost art of conversation in style. We do it in original form, but with a little twist of the hankering of the old school, you know, Johnny Carson, Dick Cavett style with a modern vibe of today. And I constantly get all kinds of messages from our guests, as well as our viewers watching around the world, how much you guys are touched by what we're doing, how much you love what we do, and you celebrate what we do. And I thank you for that. That means the world to me because we work really hard behind the scenes to put these shows together. And that's why the set is still Christmas. I love Christmas anyway. You guys know it's like one of my favorite ultimate holidays. And the whole thing, we just got back from being with the family in Florida and swimming in the Atlantic Ocean, all that stuff I like to do, Mr. Ocean here. We didn't have time to do anything else with the set. So we said, you know what? We're just going to leave it up for this week because it looks so great. And, you know, I think that spirit you get during the holidays anyway is something that should carry into the new year, not just on the day or between Christmas and New Year's or Hanukkah, Christmas and New Year's. It should be something that goes beyond. So who knows? Maybe on Easter, this will, no, I don't think we'll be taking care of it, but hey, take a look at it because it looks pretty good. And it's a little extra bonus that we still have it up for you. We just didn't have time to do anything further, but I like it anyway. So there it is. Hope everybody's doing well. I see a lot of comments in our JMS live Lovity chat room. What the heck is that? Well, basically, that is the Lovity chat room that is open and available when the shows are on. So you can comment with each other, say hello, exchange recipes, baby pictures, whatever you guys want to do that you usually do in that Lovity chat room there. If you'd like to be a part of it, you can do that by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Costs nothing to do that. I know they use the word subscribe. People are like, subscribe? What am I subscribing to? Well, you're just basically clicking on subscribe to say that you love our show, you support what we do, and you want to be part of the JMS Lovity Squad, the Lovity family. So there's no cost. It's just that red subscribe button, simple as that. And you're going to be part of the family. And you get to comment during the shows as well and say hello to some of the other Lovity viewers that are watching from around the world live. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, of course, when the shows aren't live, you can comment anytime on the YouTube channel as well. So we're going to have a great time, a lot of laughter. She's an extraordinary stand-up comedian, casting director as well. And believe it or not, she's already saying, you got to come out here, Jim, because I want to cast you in a few things. I want you to have a residency in Las Vegas with the Jim Master Show. She's already thinking up of a million things for us here. And I'm like, we love Lesley Wolff. But it's about her right now. And she's extraordinary at what she does. She's, somebody who puts a lot of smiles on people's faces, and she shows others how to do that. Matter of fact, you probably saw it in some of our promos, the advanced promos for her guest appearance on the Jim Masters Show. She was named the Comic Fluffer. Now, I've had fluffernutters. I don't know if what you guys know about fluffernutters, but that's an East Coast thing, maybe a Northeast thing here in the New York, New England area. Peanut butter on one piece of bread and that marshmallow fluff on the other, and you have a fluffernutter sandwich. However, she's the comic fluffer. And she was designated that by LA Weekly's top 100 people in the Los Angeles issue. She's also the founder and teacher at the Fresh Faces stand-up comedy workshop. Lesley loves to help people find their comedic voice by creating a fun and nurturing environment for people to grow and develop their brand. After helming the casting department for all digital entities at Conde Nast, Lesley's boutique digital-focused casting company, Wolff Casting, went on to cater to clients from all over the country. As a comedic actress herself, Lesley has most recently appeared on Weeds, The George Lopez Show, Netflix's Guest House, The Morning Show, and Fatal Attraction. And also, you can catch her monthly show at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California, where they used to do The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So if you always wanted to do stand-up, but you never knew where to find it, Fresh Faces is the place. And that's one of the reasons why she started it. And it's really an honor and a pleasure to have her here. We're going to have some fun. Again, now bear in mind what she went through to present a stunning picture that you're going to see in just a second with the lighting and the blouse and the hair. And she switched the chair 3 times to make sure the chair, was just right for our show. Yeah. She's a professional. She goes the extra mile, and we absolutely love that. That's what we're all about here at JMS and the Jim Master Show Live, Lovity Hall. All right, here she is, live and direct from her home. She might even whip up some cream puffs or some, banana bread for us. She's got the kitchen behind her. Lesley Wolff is with us.
You have me laughing backstage. Oh my God.
Now, I hope while I had you laughing backstage that you enjoyed also the champagne, the truffles, and the lobster with the little bread points. Did you enjoy all that in the green room?
My green room is off the chains. You have outdone yourself. And I must say, you're going to steal my title as the fluffer with your delightful introduction. I feel so good about myself. This might last like 10 minutes.
You won't need to put some more blush on because you'll already be blushing.
Yes.
But I was about 40% accurate as far as the lighting and the whole setup here to make sure it's right. You're a professional.
But now the sun is going down a little bit, so it's getting a little bit more romantic, which I think is apropos for Lovity, because we need to keep the vibes mellow and not too aggressive.
Now, you just went like this, and we saw those nails. Show us those cool nails.
Christmas nails, green Christmas nails.
See, you are a psychic. You're an intuitive. You know why?
Why?
How did you know that green is my favorite color?
I know it's your favorite color because green is a soothing nature, one with the earth, Emersonian color, and you're all those things.
I appreciate that very much. You've been talking to my mother again?
I was going to say, the only way you'll get this much love is from your mother. So Jim, Lesley, and your mother. I love it.
That's it, exactly. Or as my dad has always said and told us when we were kids, Jim, whenever anybody says something kind or nice, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management.
Isn't that funny? Isn't
Yeah.
that's actually you're
It,
already having me come up with great concepts, but people love giving testimonials and doing giving kind words, but there should be sort of like a keepsake way. Maybe we could create an app where you can keep all your kudos.
right.
All
I love
kudos.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Right.
So how have you been? Busy time. We're just getting off the holidays, although you with your green Christmas nails and us with our Christmas set, we're still in the holiday spirit. How are your holidays? How's the new year going so far, Lesley?
Well, because my daughter goes to LAUSD, literally the vacation is a month and a half. I can't even understand what they're thinking because the kids are not going to even know how to read when they get back. And I know you're looking at me, you're like, how do you have a kid that's that young? But I had my
No,
daughter.
I'm saying LAUSD. I thought they
Yeah.
took that off the market years ago.
It's laced with fentanyl. Yeah. No, LAUSD is they have more days off than days in, but we've had such a great time doing so many things. And in LA, you never get the real Christmas feel. So we like to go up to Big Bear and pretend we're like near snow and things like that. So we've had a great time. But I waver back and forth between, oh, someone says hello, between full time and freelance. So when you're freelance, vacation doesn't really mean anything. But when you're in a job, you revel in the vacation. So, for me, vacation, not vacation, no difference.
The only time that it means something is when you are freelance, and because you do go on vacation, there's no like vacation time or anything accruing. You are just not generating, although you are having a nice colada at the beach.
That's actually an interesting concept too. If you don't have like paid vacation, is it even a vacation? Like if you're not like curing out that spot for vacation, does it feel as good? That's really interesting. I never thought about that.
When I was in Florida visiting the family, I I was cast or not cast. I was tasked by producers in New York with one of the news programs that I host with Doug Llewellyn from the People's Court
I love.
to book 7 TV shoots, and then I hosted 6 radio broadcasts from the Masters family compound in Florida while on holiday vacation. That's how it
But
works.
it's so funny. That's what I love. I used to have a radio show on National Lampoon called The Wolf Pack. And the thing about radio, you could literally come in your pajamas, do whatever you want, not be seen. Now with podcasts being video, and as you were joking
Yeah.
about how much lighting we went through,
Yeah.
video and voice, there is something to be said about the freedom of just radio, don't you think?
Yes, theater of the mind. Absolutely right. Yeah. I've
And
done
you
a
can have
lot of
so many
that. And
guests, yeah, and cut them in and out without it feeling like people are stepping on each other's toes, like in that element.
you mentioned National Lampoon. We had Nicholas Guest and Pamela Guest on the show, and he was, of course, in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And what great people! I don't know if you've ever had any, interaction with them at all, but they're fantastic.
Yeah, it was such a fun, chill vibe. It was years ago, but I remember it was like mostly a relationship show. So we got to talk about like sex and dominatrix stuff and love and stuff. So it was that mixed with comedy, which with your levity, I know you would have been a perfect guest.
The Lovities, the whole thing. So how'd you get started? You're originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
And
And
so you
never
know where all the
really,
good steak place, the Philly cheesesteaks are and the hoagie. You know where to go to get them, right?
and I'm going to clear something up right now. It's not Jim's or Pat's, it's D'Alessandro's on Ridge Avenue, the best cheesesteaks in the world. If there was Instagram back when D'Alessandro's was in its heights, it would have been the artichoke pizza of the internet. It's gorgeous cheesesteaks, peppers, everything so good, lines out
Ooh.
the door. And I think Jim's and Pat's was overrated. So I think people are like, what are Philadelphians talking about? These cheesesteaks, they're not that good. But they're great. But here's a secret. Jersey Mike's out here, which is just a chain. makes killer cheesesteak. So if there are people that want to try a Philly cheesesteak, go to Jersey Mike's. It's good.
This segment is sponsored by Jersey Mike's of LA. Now, so your doorbell is going to ring and you're going to have 2 years supply of Jersey Mike's and rice-a-roni. Remember, every game show gave away rice-a-roni.
Which, here, I don't want to have a funny story for everything you say. My daughter loves rotini pasta. Whatever's going on in the world, I was at Target yesterday. There was one box of rotini pasta. I grabbed it, but there's a pasta shortage. So don't joke about it, Jim.
Is it as equivalent and as chaotic as the toilet paper shortage was?
I'm not even joking. I don't go to Target a lot. Maybe it was just this one Target, but all the shelves were pretty barren of pasta.
Is there something we don't know? Is there something happening? Is it an awakening? Is there
opening up a pasta portal?
The coming of Jesus? I mean, what's happening? Grab the pasta. So growing up in the wonderful city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, was there funny people in your family? How did this come about for you? I mean, a lot of great comedians and comedians have come out of Philadelphia.
Well, Philadelphia is they joke around about it at the same time being the city of brotherly love and simultaneously the #1 city of the most hostile people. And I think that's what brings the comedy together. Both my parents are extremely intelligent and funny, so I know I got it from them. But when they got a divorce when I was around 13, I definitely used my class clownery to sort of get through that time period. And now when I teach my stand-up comedy, I kind of use that as an angle. How do you use comedy to get through the most stressful or painful parts of your life? So how can you find the humor in the thing that could potentially bring you down?
So you used what went on in your life and in the household and found comic ways to deal with it, which I think is great because if you look at the lives of many people who are in comedy, there are things that happened in their lives earlier that might not have always been the most pleasant, but as a result, they created their own little world, and comedy, finding the opposite of it, is something that they go towards. So you did that, huh?
And yes, but I have so many comedic friends who almost lived like the exact opposite, which is they grew up very isolated, no stimulation, no play, and they created all these characters. So those are the comedic friends I have that have gone towards like improv and sketch and stuff like that. Where on mine, it was more observational and situational. So that's why I think I go more towards stand-up. While I do love sketch and improv too, I did the whole Groundlings program and all that too. I think to be a comedian, you should exercise both muscles. But I think it's the kids that were really lonely and isolated with no stimulation that are really good at imagination characters and things like that. And people that were maybe overstimulated or leaned on to entertain during the drama, they become the stand-ups.
We just had Rita Rudner on the show I was mentioning, who was, legendary, and she was talking about some of that as well. And it's so true. And that's some of my favorite comedy. I love quick wit. I love dry senses of humor. I like when it's observational, when people react to things that are going on around them, situational things we can all relate to. And there's a funny quip, or there's just something that is said as things are sort of happening and before your eyes. Some of the, the sitcoms that are some of my favorite are the ones that are really like that. Not as much the slapstick pie in your face kind of obvious stuff, but the stuff that makes you sort of think a little bit. Same thing when people say, do you like horror? Do you like thriller? I said, what I actually prefer, I don't need to see, I prefer the psychological thriller. Is somebody behind the door? Is somebody under the bed? Watching the Twilight Zone, are the neighbors next door the Martians? It makes you think about how we all deal with one another, treat one another, and they're all lessons in life. And sometimes these observational responses are funny as anything. And that's something that I've been gifted with, and it's just gotten stronger as life has continued for me. My father, New York, Irish, the whole thing, quick-witted, so much going on, could be in a supermarket line and get everybody laughing based on one comment he says about how the line isn't moving or something. Can we move the line? I got to catch a plane in 5 minutes or something. Different things to sort of lighten the load, get everybody to laugh, equalize everything, but
And that
also
could be sort of like a pathology too, because it's so funny. As I was waiting for the show
yes,
today, I happened upon a fun clip of Joan Rivers, who's one of my favorite comedians and such a pioneer for women in comedy. But she was hosting the Johnny Carson show as a guest host, and she had Mr. Rogers, who I
yes,
also adore. I actually
yes.
had the pleasure of casting his documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, for Tremolo Pictures, which I got all the kids to be part of the documentary. It was such an honor. But he started to singing, he started to singing the grammar. He
That's the
started,
one with Tom Hanks, right? The one that Tom Hanks.
no, that was a different, it was Won't You Be My Neighbor. It was like just a
Oh,
total
yes.
documentary about his life.
Right. Was that the one that aired on PBS?
I believe it was also in
Yes.
theaters.
Yes. That was fantastic.
It was wonderful. But what I was gleaning from that clip was she said Melissa, her daughter, had loved listening to some of the songs growing up. And there was one about feelings or I like you. It was called I Like You.
Yeah.
And he was singing it to her. And it was so poignant. I'll send you the clip after our show today. But
Yeah.
he started sort of like putting her shirt over her head and being embarrassed. Like she is so used to talking and validating and getting the thing. It was so hard for her to receive just a genuine song from Mr. Rogers. I said, that is so telling of comedians, because a lot of times the noise, the chatter, maybe kind of as I'm doing right now, is to avoid the intimacy of being vulnerable. And I think that clip was so layered. I can't wait to send it to you, because she was very uncomfortable with him telling her that she was special. So it was very fascinating.
You know, that is kind of interesting, right? Not knowing how to take it and how to absorb it, but he was so good at that, you know? Those shows of that day, Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and some of the others, like Bob McGrath, who was in Sesame Street for 47 years, comforting and
Yes,
warm. And
Sesame Street.
we're I keep saying it, we're sort of missing some of that. You know, we're missing some of that. I know some say, well, it's old school, it's Pollyanna, it's too Brady Bunch and everything. What's wrong with some of that?
As
You
I
know what I
watch
mean?
my 8-year-old grow up, I genuinely, Jim, have those moments of like, I wish she had the joy of Sesame Street, the simplicity of the Muppets, this stuff. Nowadays, literally from age 6 on, kids are on their games, on their phone. They're watching shows. Like she watches a show called Big City Greens, which I love. And actually, a lot of my friends are voice artists on it, which makes me look like a hero because I can always get her the headshots. I'll tell you that story later. But they're snarky. They're irreverent. There's no innocence to these current cartoons. So I'm going to big, like we were watching Jeopardy and Big, it said, what 6.5-year-old character has been on TV for over 50 years? So I was like, Big Bird, because I knew that's the only character that actively committed to staying to be 6 and keeping the innocence. So there's nothing these days.
No, there really isn't. I mean, there's no more Nanny and the Professor with Juliet Mills. You know, there's no more of any of that unless you get Antenna TV or Me TV and the classic nostalgic channels, which are fantastic. Family with Seda Thompson,
Oh
Christy
my God, my
McNichol,
favorite. Yes.
James Broderick, and Meredith Baxter Burney, and Gary
Oh my
Frank,
God,
and
I
Kim
am
Cummings.
Meredith Baxter Burney. I always
You're
love
Meredith
her.
Baxter Burney? Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Whenever
Seda
I get this haircut, I call
Thompson.
myself Meredith Baxter Burney.
You actually do. Seda Thompson, of course, was fantastic as Kate Lawrence. Matter of fact, when I was out in that area on another TV shoot pre-pandemic, there were 2 places in my off time that I took the rental car and I said, I've got to go and I just have to see these 2 things, these houses that really exist.
Yeah.
One was the Brady Bunch house because it was at the time when one of my friends, Lauren, vice president in HGTV, was tasked with being one of the people involved in that whole renovation and bringing the Brady kids in with, I think, the Property Brothers and all these other HGTV stars to take that house there that only had the facade and everything else was in the Paramount studio, and actually take a house which wasn't at all architecturally designed to be like the Brady Bunch house and turn it into it. So I was there. And I remember there was a woman that was sort of squatting on the street, and she's actually painting by hand the house number, the original house number from the show. So I had to see that and get some pictures and do a little walk and talk. And then I said, you know what? I got to go to Pasadena and I've got to see the house that we used in Family. That beautiful house and
I
the
remember
whole
the opening credits.
that da 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 da. The whole thing as they pan down and Doug pulls out and goes to work in his Ford Maverick and but the house is absolutely stunning. All the trees that were in the front are not there, maybe one or two, and you see the actual house. And I think it sold for a few million just recently, but it just just they're looking at it, and it's in a regular neighborhood, beautiful area, of course, that part of Pasadena, but just it's just a house that was there that was used for that series, but also for movies and a lot of other things. And they allowed the crews to use the entire perimeter of the house and sometimes go in the front door, but you never saw inside. And somehow they just created it so it was so realistic when you saw it on set that you felt that that's exterior and the interior really matched beautifully. It's just I had to go see it. And it was really, really
It's
cool
so
to
funny
see
that you
that.
even say that because we don't realize what an impact like architecture in shows, what an impact it has on us. Even last night, I put on Caddyshack, and my husband is a post-production producer, so he's always doing still shots and visuals and sound and this. And he's kept stopping Caddyshack, and he goes, "That's Rossmore. That street's Rossmore." There's a scene where he's riding his bike through what's supposed to be an affluent Florida neighborhood, but it was really Rossmore here. And I think that would be a great sort of History Channel special about the characters of the homes. And this is so apropos because I was watching Taylor Swift's new video today too. Like, hey, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And the 70s vibe of it was giving me was triggering me so much because you don't even realize like the daisies on the glasses or the light fixtures, how the aesthetic of a house is just as much a character as anything else in your life. So I think that's interesting that you chose to go do that. So cool.
Yeah, I tell you, really, it's amazing. And I've had some folks on who have been session musicians and composers and a lot of folks through the years. And we've talked about how jingles and themes, show themes have pretty much dissolved as well. And I used to love, in addition to all the singing jingles for the commercials, also the singing jingles that they used to have for television stations,
Absolutely.
radio
You and I are the
stations.
same person. Facts of Life, my favorite. And
Yes.
I'm not embarrassed of it, huge Barry Manilow fan. And I know he wrote a lot of jingles. So I think
Yes.
jingles are so magical because they bring you back instantly to something, whether good or bad. And I miss that too, Jim. I miss that sort of cute, sort of we're all in this together gang jingle because they don't
Correct.
do it
Yeah.
anymore.
Remember the Coca-Cola commercial? I'd like to teach the world to sing. I mean, that was in perfect harmony. That was fantastic. And then and then you'd have, as kids, you would be singing the jingles too. You would remember the jingles, and the jingles would then tie to the product. And then there would be the mascot, Charlie the Tuna or Mr. Whipple, which don't squeeze the charmer. You had, or Madge with Palmolive. You had Josephine, the Comet Plumber. You had all these mascots, themes, jingles that I think did a better job of selling the product than sometimes you watch a commercial today and you're like, I have no idea what the product is, because the commercial is so much more of like a story, but the product isn't really. You watch it and you're like, I've been on couches with people and we all look at each other like, did you get what the product was?
Well,
And they're
guess
like,
what, Jim?
no.
That's interesting you say that because I do a ton of digital advertising casting. So I cast a lot of things. Instead of it being a direct to product, like I'm selling this pen, it is like a mini sitcom where you're affected by it, but you're not really sure what it's for. I did one for Try Homey, which is a real estate app, and it was like an Addams Family spoof. It's really funny. I'll send it to you. It was great and entertaining, but at the end, you may or may not know it's for an advertising for a real estate app. It runs a fine line because you want to entertain people enough so they don't turn the channel, but you want to be clear enough that people know what they're buying. And it's so much of it, and you're probably wonderful at voiceover. So much of it too is, do you like the voice you hear? Do you want to aspire to be like that voice? Like my friend Samantha Lamole does a ton of voiceover acting, and she does Angel Soft. So every time Angel Soft
Oh,
comes
yes.
on, I feel Samantha's with me. So there's so many elements of I don't want to say brainwashery of advertising, but it's fascinating. I just did a bunch of advertisements for Stater Brothers, which is a a local grocery store out here, and they really went for the heartstrings and for like the romance and sort of like, you don't want to be the guy who doesn't get their wife the flowers, right? Instead of like showing the actual products, they're just telling the story. And that's the huge shift I've seen in advertising. And I'm not sure if you're saying you miss the more of the people that become family to you. I see that as a real thing that is missing. Like, think about it. Like
Nancy Walker with the Bounty towels.
Yes.
Picker upper.
And the other thing is, like, even now with a lot of the Super Bowl spots and the spots with like, they'll take, I love Key and Peele, but they'll take that character where he's like, hey, Ron, and then instead of it being the advertisement, it's sort of an advertisement for the character. So it's fascinating.
It's really amazing. It really is. We talked about, the TV themes too, and how you don't really hear many of them anymore. So when you heard the Dick Van Dyke Show, or you heard these different things, you knew as soon as you heard it what it was going to be about, and you got ready and you got psyched up when you heard. And then there's Maud. All these things. You knew what was going to happen.
Even Sex and the City, something as current as that, even though it was more modern, it really got you. Like, you hear that music and you're like, must watch women messing up their lives. Like, it's like you get it does the work for you in your head. You don't even have to get prepared for the show because you're like, that's the music, this is the mindset. So it's interesting.
Now they have on, when you watch television, they have on certain channels, especially cable channels, and of course on the internet, where you can actually click skip intro. And I'm like, no, I love the intro. I'm not going to skip the intro. I want to sing to the intro. I love the intro. I'm not going to skip it's all about getting straight to the content, blah, 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 blah.
But you say an important thing there, because back when we were watching, I don't want to age you as much as me, but when we were watching shows and when we were watching ads, we didn't have the option to skip it. So then you accept the ad as part of your entertainment and you enjoy it. Now we're so bothered if our programming is interrupted.
Right.
Waiting for even my daughter, when she's playing games, she waits for that little X to come up and
yes,
and be done.
Exactly.
That was somehow, I don't know how to turn that ding off.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Was that an aha moment? So Philadelphia, and then what happened? How did you start to create this career? And was comedy first, or did the acting start first? What's happened for you first, Lesley?
Well, I went to University of Pennsylvania, which is right there in Philadelphia. I didn't move far from my home. And the first day of orientation, I was so overwhelmed. I went into the bathroom and closed the stall. I'm like, what am I even doing? And on the back of the stall was a flyer for a female comedy group called Bloomers. And I said, oh, Bloomers, that sounds fun. And then I ended up auditioning for it. And it became my whole life for the 4 years at Penn, where I went on to be the director senior year. But it was an all-female group where they really emphasize that if you want to be a performer, you got to work on the music. If you want to work on music, you got to work on the gaffing. If you want to do this. So it was this all-encompassing group where in order to be part, and we talked about Emerson earlier, in order to be part of it, you have to understand the whole. And that's sort of a holistic approach I've always taken, because, I'm an actress, I'm a casting director, I'm a this, I'm a that. I think if you really want to understand one thing well, you have to be on all sides of it.
Good thing you went into that stall and not the one next to it.
Because
the information that you can discern in stalls is extraordinary when you just read the walls. There's all kinds of phone numbers.
But it's so funny because I had so many great friends who then went on to become big Hollywood people too. Not that I'm a big Hollywood person, but when they went on to become Hollywood development people and executives. And to this day, I've had so many amazing experiences, but nothing trumps sitting and writing sketch with a bunch of creative, fun women in Houston Hall at UPenn, and just really feeling empowered. And it's so funny. So when I got to LA, I really started as a TV writer, and I was lucky enough to really work on some important shows like Sweet Valley High. Now, I worked on some great shows. I love Sweet Valley High, but I wrote for Recess, which is an animated show, which I love. Was on ABC.
Yeah.
It's such a great show. Do you know the show?
Sure. Was that the very first show for you, or what was the first show?
No, High first, and then
was
Recess.
The first.
Yeah. And what I realized is, while I absolutely adore writing, having like the deadlines and having to do it in that kind of fashion didn't work for me as well.
Yeah.
So I was always acting too. So I was acting. So then I met a guy named Sam Brown, who was my mentor He's fabulous, brilliant comedian, very just like angry ranter, so fun. And he sort of took me under his wing. And because he was so narcissistic and wanted to perform for an hour every Saturday, he'd have me book a show that would lead up to his headliner. So I'd bring in people like Chelsea Handler, Tig Notaro, Natasha Leggero, all these people that would come and perform at the Good Bar. And then they'd all do 8 minutes and then he would do an hour. And he started noticing I may be even better as the producer than the stand-up. Not to say that he said that, but he saw the value in having me promote his shows. And it just evolved from there. And I was so lucky to have a show at the Comedy Union, which was run by Enns Mitchell right here on Pico. And it was a pretty urban club and really fun. But I had a show there that promoted female comics called She Comedy. So it all started there. Then I went to the Hollywood Improv where I ran a show for 20 years. It started as an evening of Ivy League comedy where I'd get comics from all the Ivies, and it was so pretentious. And they would all perform and have fun. And then my class just originally organically got popular. So since then, I've been running my Fresh Faces show once a month. Oh God, it's embarrassing how long, for 20 years. And I recently have moved to Flappers, which is so much fun. Talk about Rita Rudner. She's one of my favorites. I saw her in Vegas as a younger girl and was so in awe.
Yeah.
It feels more like a Vegas club, and the people who run it are so fabulous, and it's such a warm feeling, and they have the best truffle pizza. So I'm like, I'm enjoying what do we call it when you have a residency at Flappers? Hey, look at that. That's from the Fresh Faces page. But yeah, you look there's Spencer Grammer, who just did I'm so proud of her. Her dad is Kelsey Grammer, and they just did a Christmas movie where they played
really? Yeah.
Lifetime. And Miss Kristen right there, she went on for my class to do something called I Mom So Hard, and they're touring the country. This is a great picture you're bringing up. Aidan Mirren is a great, fabulous actor right now. And we have Casey, who actually works at Flappers now and emceed and opened the show. Himalaya there with a beautiful green jacket is a brilliant yogi instructor and spiritual giant. And just everybody. And the girl in the back there is a choreographer who just choreographed something. I just saw her. She just choreographed something huge. I can't remember what it was, but she's adorable. This is like a fun random class from 20 years ago. It's great.
Yeah. Going back in time, look at this shot.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Jim, you're going to make me cry because this is my bloomers group from college, and holding hands with me right here is my gorgeous friend, Allison Greenspan, who has left us because she had battled some cancer, but she is the most brilliant genius comedian in the entire world. But this group of ladies, Keisha Harris, they're up there, Deb Fromer, musical genius on the end. I would sit for hours with Deb Fromer and just I'd go, la, 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 la. I would sing a song and create a song any way I wanted it. And she would write it for me. What a gift. That was the best time of my life.
Yeah. Huh. So these were very formative and important years here that were happening for you. Yes.
Getting these pictures. Oh my gosh. Then you have, I just love looking at all these. In each class,
I'm Ralph Edwards, and this is your life.
I don't realize what a gift it's been to have these people. You're not going to believe this. On the left there, I don't know if you're looking from the right or left, is Hillary Powers with the grayish hair.
I play the middle.
Right there with the glasses and the gray hair. She is ready for this. You're going to die. The voice of Sally from the Peanuts, the real voice of Sally from the Peanuts. Hillary Momberger. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Danielle right here in the middle. So effing funny. She is like, she works at Disney and gives tours and is the funniest MFer you will ever meet in your entire life. Then I'm looking all around. Then you have Chad, who's just fabulous. I remember them all. And like the girl in the front went on to become a news person. I'm so proud of her. Of course, I can't remember everybody's name right now because my brain and postpartum.
You want to phone a friend?
Yeah, no friend, but all these pictures are just fabulous.
Isn't that great? So when you came up with the concept of Fresh Faces, tell us what it was what was the vision? What's the mission of it?
What it started as, Jim, was for people who have never done stand-up before to getting on stage in 5 weeks. So it was this sort of thing of like this wish fulfillment. You've never tried stand-up, now's your chance. You've never done this, now's your chance. It segued from that to lots of people who have already garnered fame taking the class because it's what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like there's people that have gone through my program that I'm so proud of. And even one of my favorite students from 15 years ago, Atsko, just had a HBO special, and I'm so proud of her. And, you know, there's I've been in the business so long that I'm getting to see people go from 0 to 100, and it's actually really heartwarming and really fun.
Who's some of the folks that inspired you over the years? You mentioned, Rita Rudner and a few others. Did you also enjoy the Phyllis Dillers, the Rodney Dangerfields, the George Carlins, any of those veterans as well over the years?
Of course, I'm a lover of comedy, so I really do love all comedy, and I love, like I said, Joan Rivers was my first stand-up I ever went to with David Brenner, which was so much fun. I always loved Ellen DeGeneres. Her stand-up was always fabulous, and Brett Butler, Caroline Ray. All the women inspired me so much. Then as I get older, of course, I love Jerry Seinfeld and was and still am a big fan of Louis C.K., even though it's unpopular as a woman to say that. But
You know who too is he's more recent, of course, is Sebastian Maniscalco.
I was in comedy with him for years. He was one of the people who was always on the Sam Brown show, and his overnight success took 20 years, and I'm so proud of him.
Yes, and observational humor about life.
Oh,
And
he's fabulous. Him and Gary Goldman's fabulous. I love Anthony Jeselnik. He's just so smart and funny and has his own point of view. Of course, I love Amy Schumer too, but I really don't dislike any comedians. Like, I always find something in each comedian that I like, but what I am drawn to most is authenticity. If I feel like somebody's
yeah,
putting on a character or a little bit of an act, it
yeah,
doesn't
no.
work for me as well, but I still enjoy it.
Did you like Gallagher, who just passed last year? Yeah, with the
I read
watermelons
so
and
many articles about him being so particular and kooky. I don't think I have an opinion on Gallagher. I don't think I've ever delved into the
into the
Gallagher.
whole Gallagher way. Yeah, it was a very interesting. I just remember seeing him. I think he had a couple of specials on television too, and of course, who we lost, who was a friend of our show too, and our mutual friend Elaine Ballas, of course, Judy Tenuta, who had her own unique way of presenting herself and just a unique take on life.
She was
It'll
another
happen,
person.
as she would say. It'll happen.
She was often a part of that Sam Brown community, and I think her and Judy Gold and other women that continued to do comedy but didn't necessarily always make it their favorite. I know I wrote a pilot years ago for Sandra Bernhard, and I still love her. I follow her on Instagram, and maybe I'm in love with or I'm a huge fan of not in love with a huge fan of a just eccentric, fun, irreverent new comedian named Gabby Lamb. She's fabulous, and when I watch her and her journey, it makes me think of Sandra Bernhard so much. I'm like, maybe Gabby and Sandra need to play mother-daughter in something. And they're just, it was very unpopular for a while for women to be irreverent or speak their mind. And then it came into fashion. So it goes in and out. Sometimes people want to hear women talk about their sex life and talk about their struggles. And sometimes people don't.
So Fresh Faces was created, and how has it blossomed today for folks that are looking to get involved and express themselves? How does it work?
Well, what's so funny about Fresh Faces and sort of what I've created in what I offer, I don't only cater to actors. I cater to anybody in any area of life. And I even get hired by companies to help CEOs sort of get along better with comedy. I just got hired by a company that had me do a 2-hour Zoom to people on a retreat in Italy. I'm like, why in Italy would you spend 2 hours with me on Zoom? But that's okay. But it's I don't want to give away the secret sauce, but it's more of a self-esteem class than it is a stand-up class. What happens
Right.
is
Yeah.
by telling your truth and telling your story and knowing that it's interesting enough to be heard, there's this catharsis that truly happens that lessens stress, that builds up self-esteem. People are becoming addicted to class. I have people that repeat the class over and over, and it becomes sort of
Really?
a support group. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So there's people, they say, it's hard for me to get it only because for me it's the reverse. But some people say that public speaking they fear more than death. And I'm like, really? Death? I mean, that's really an ultimate sort of thing there. I don't know. But there are people who actually they fear. They may be very funny, witty. They just don't know how to get it out, express it because they feel maybe rejection or judgment, or they're going to be criticized, or maybe through the years they were, and they shut down and they don't share it with everybody. But the ability to be able to communicate even the way that you and I are right now so freely. There's no script. You don't know what I'm going to ask in advance. There's no questions, which I absolutely love because it's free form. It's like improv. It's ad lib, as ad lib can get. And yet at the same time, it's connecting. The train's on the track. It's flowing. It's like a great tennis match. But for some people, that scares them.
And for the most part, that's because they are alone in a vacuum, right? So if you're talking to a vacuum, you're not sure if it's good or if it's not good. Within a class environment, I say it's such a racket because I think I learn more from the students than they learn from me, and they learn from each other, is that first of all, I'm a big believer in repetition. So once you create your set, you're repeating it. So you're repeating it enough that you'll be ready to go. And like you coined the phrase, Lovity, I coined a phrase called anecjokes, which means in my class, you're telling true stories about yourself, anecdotes with the jokes woven in. It's not set up punch. It's not Judy Carter or other Greg Dean or whoever. It's not that. So people need to know that coming in. It's you telling the truth. And then the jokes are coming from the authenticity of what you're talking about and the relatability and the fact that if you're talking about your horrible divorce, there's going to be 6 or 7 people in the audience that take a sigh of relief and go, I'm not the only one going
they
through
relate
that.
to it, right?
And I always encourage people to talk about the things they wouldn't normally want to talk about or things that they would bring them embarrassment. People in my class have talked about cancer, talked about divorce, have come out. Everybody doesn't have to do that, but it is a safe enough space that you can really explore anything you want to talk about. And I'll tell you, Jim, the truth is I can be very nervous public speaker unless I'm running the show. When I'm running the show, I'm always I could perform in front of 2,000 and be fine. But if I'm like, I get very nervous before these like Zooms with the CEOs and stuff like that. But the only thing to combat nervousness is preparedness, right?
Yes.
So what my class does is gets you so prepared with a foolproof curriculum. There's no way to fail. And by the way, in comedy, you can't expect your first time to be the best time that ever was. There will be more. You'll learn, you'll take stuff out, you'll add things. But the only way to do it is to have fun. So I say this to people, and I really believe it. If you're up there having fun, it really doesn't matter what you're saying. People are going to be like, "Oh, I want some of that. I want to be able to have fun." Why are they having fun so easily by themselves on stage? And then my class has never been advertised. I've had a full class for 20 years because inevitably 1 or 2 people from the show, they see it, they go, "I want that," and then it fills up.
Sometimes they say the best or the first time isn't always the best.
That is so true. We'll get into that.
I mean, what's amazing too is how your entire kitchen disappeared behind you.
I know the night
It's
has
like
come.
this, like, sorry, folks. Times are tough during the pandemic. She had to sell all her furniture and her pots and pans. She's in a dark room right now.
You don't know the real estate market in LA right now. You're not even joking.
She's in a 1-room bungalow, but still making us laugh.
I like this. This is more like a talking.
It's very intimate. It's very focused on you, right? It's sort of Charlie Rose-ish. So really cool that you've had an opportunity to express yourself in this way and to mentor other people and allow them to sort of, express themselves and share it with the world. Do you get a chance to do a lot of stand-up yourself since you're, mentoring so many others?
It's a great question because even every now and then I'll be like, come on, Lesley, let's stop this already. You've mentored enough people. And when I don't teach, I miss it so much. It fuels me and it really does give it to me. And for all my shows, I MC. And and just like you said, you love improv. I always improv. I do it off the top of my head, whatever's going on with a crazy PTA story or something nuts about some thrift shop bender I went on. But I'll have fun. And for the most part, they see me getting a kick out of it and they have fun. They don't even remember maybe what I said or didn't say. But in terms of like wanting to get booked on shows or actively pursuing that, I'm just sort of, maybe because of the pandemic, but it's not something that I'm putting my energy towards. I do love acting and I've been doing more acting. And to me, that is something that I'm enjoying pursuing. I'm like, I'll be I want overnight success at age 50. But right now I've had the pleasure of being booked on a couple of things because the pool is getting smaller kind of as you get older. So I think I'm focusing more on the acting than the stand-up right now, but you know, my husband does stand up, my daughter does stand up. Maybe one day I always wanted to have a show where it was couples doing stand up, like he said, she said, sort of let the audience figure out who's right in the argument for the couple kind of thing. But I think stand up has not even begun to be explored in the ways it could be used to help people and as therapy. So maybe as I progress and get older, I can think of more ways to use humor and comedy to help people that are in genuine distress.
To me, humor is like music, healing, connecting. It's a universal language. And I've had so many times, so many instances where I've come into like a setting for me, a television studio or a radio station or, something where it's very active and there's a lot going on. And there's all this panic and something went wrong, something's not happening, something technically, or somebody didn't show up. And there's like fire and fury going on. Everybody's like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll come in and I'll find a way to sort of tamper that, to ease it, to not get rid of it where it doesn't look like it ever happened, but to sort of find a connectivity and some humor in it. And immediately, as much as I don't love surprises and don't love chaos, I'm always drawn to it, which I find really, from a psychological standpoint, different, that I'm drawn to something that I usually work all day long to not have happen. So, but when I run to the fire, I'm always looking for ways to douse it, but also connect people, connect everybody, and find the levity in the craziness of everyday life. And I think
I like to sort of realize
it's important to do that.
Overall umbrella, it's not a big deal. And I'm not saying life isn't a big deal, but anything that's so important, that's the end of the world, that comes crashing down, nobody cares. Like a lot of times when the people are the most upset about something, it's like, you know what? The energy you're putting towards having a conniption could be put towards finding a solution. And it can't exist around me. The one time, and this happened recently, where I came in not prepared emotionally to be there, it imploded because I didn't let the stress of what was happening before stop me. And I learned from that lesson. And I don't hate that lesson happened. I needed that lesson, but you have to commit to a point of view. You have to commit to an energy coming in, because if you're the person leading the show, it all lands on you if it succeeds or fails.
I absolutely love conniptions, especially with some mustard on top.
Pickled herring.
Right. It's like, so are these 5-week courses? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they run around every month and a half because it takes the 4 weeks and the 5th. And it's all on Zoom from 6 to 8 on Wednesdays. And then there is a Zoom showcase because there are people from all over the country that are in the class. So they want to have a performance. So the Saturday night is the Zoom show. And then the Sunday night is the live show at Flapper. So sometimes people will fly in, but for the most part, it's for LA locals that will do it. But
so when is that time of the month?
Huh?
So when is that?
It's either in the very beginning of the month or at the end of the month. Like we have one in February. I'm not going to do any menstruation. And March 7th and then May 7th. It'll all be on the website. But I enjoy the Zoom shows as much as the live shows. Like this, to me, this live show that you're doing, I didn't have to have all the stressors of coming to you or anything like that. I think it's actually, people should embrace it rather than poo-poo it.
Are you acknowledging the audience in the balcony when you look up?
I just like how
it's like, ooh. So the acting part too, like you mentioned, and I mentioned that you've had an opportunity to be in some really cool things. The morning show, Netflix's Guest House, the George Lopez Show, Weeds. Do you love acting as much as comedy, or are you always going to be that comedian?
Here comes my daughter. She might want to say hi.
Mom's watching in Philly, right? Your mother's watching in Philadelphia.
I love acting sporadically. I love comedy all the time.
Oh,
so
I like that.
I love comedy every day of the year. Acting, I'll do once or twice a year, whether I have to or not. It's always funny. My husband makes so much fun of me. He's like, "Isn't it about time for your acting job this year?" And I don't put pressure on myself to be a series regular or anything like that. Not that I would ever turn that down, but like when I just did a spot on Fatal Attraction, and I showed up. And you get this fantastic trailer where you're catered to every need, and people are knocking on, do you want asabuca for lunch? And you're going,
Right.
you buy into the fantasy that you're somehow more special because you're an actor, but it's all an illusion. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
But it's
Right.
a fun illusion to dive into. It's great for a day, but my personality gets bored easily. So when I have to wait 7 hours in my trailer, I go through every, life cycle of things to when I finally get on set. I'm so crazed out that it's a it's a muscle that you have to practice of how to save it for the performance, and you never know if you're going to be the last shot of the day and whether you get 3 close-ups or that the person against you gets 2 close-ups. You can't get into your head. And I think something that might sometimes get in the way of me being a fabulous actor is that I can't turn off my mind. I do believe that actors, the best actors, are empty vessels, that they can really leave it all outside and take the direction. For me, I'm like, well, shouldn't that person have a leather handbag, not a, waterproof handbag? We're in the spring and all.
We have evidence of you in progress doing that.
Oh no.
Right there.
I thought you
Leather.
were going to show a clip of Dion Molly in Guest House.
That's a great shot.
Thank you. That's from Matt Masisko, who's one of my favorite comic photographers. He is so fabulous. He even took some great shots of my kid too. But if you go to his Instagram, Matt Masisko Photography, you'll see so many great current comedians. And it's almost like he's not there. He just lets his camera capture. Look at that. Really great.
I think this was sensational. This was when you found out you were coming on the Jim Masters show. Like,
Exactly.
Wait, no, not the Jim Masters. I'm going on the Jim Masters show, entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. Wait, stop.
This is True Hollywood Story 2023.
This is cool, huh?
I just wrote that down.
This is a great shot.
Well,
this is fantastic.
That's Brian Perillo.
This is like,
going into the anals. I think that's around 7 years old. I always love it. It's so funny.
This is magazine cover.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it is. No.
But let me tell you something. That was not an easy time for me. When I came in there, I had just had my kid and I was a little, they call you geriatric, and I had some postpartum, and I really didn't know how to smile for the camera or to even be there. And Teresa Baca was a beautiful makeup artist, and Brian was so patient and loving. He makes you feel like so empowered when you're there. I'm a huge lover of photographers. I will talk for hours about different photographers and why I love them. And I love taking photos too. But I remember that day, and it was a challenge for me that day. So for it to come out with such a beautiful shot, I think that shows a fabulous photographer.
Absolutely right.
Now I have to get my blonde done. Just kidding. Jim, that's the funny thing too.
That's another great one. Look at that. I mean,
oh my goodness, that's the same day. That was the serious lawyer. Lawyer.
No, that's a great look.
Uh-oh, where are you getting all these headshots?
Yes, we do our due diligence.
Working woman, working blue collar.
We do our due diligence. So how'd you get through the last couple of years with, so much negativity and tragedy? And I keep saying, I hope that people come more, become more creative, collaborative, more empathetic, kinder, and listen to music and watch old movies and TV shows and laugh and go out and spend time at the ocean, go to nature through the craziness. Everything was closed, stopped. People were not laughing as much as they wished they could. How about you? How did it affect you? And what did you learn about yourself, Lesley, during it all?
Well, the comedy of itself, of course, took a big halt, which was scary and sad. But in terms of life, my little family unit here, my husband and my daughter, we love to just be homebodies and stay together. So he jokes around that this was the best time of our lives. And to be honest, it was probably my most lucrative work year because I was doing so many jobs remotely that I could take on multiple jobs at the same time. So it sort of made a huge shift in the work, I don't want to say paradigm, but in the workflow, to where I didn't feel scared, nervous, or anxious about that. But it was hard. I mean, of course, I like to live in the present, so I don't dwell on how bad it felt. But I do remember, for the most part, just feeling sad that my daughter would somehow miss out on some sort of growth opportunities during that time. But looking back, I'm just so happy I was with her. I remember her doing her little Zoom classes, singing her songs in her kindergarten class with Miss Ganute. And I was so honored that I got to spend literally every day with my kid when she was 4 and 5 because of the pandemic. Like, it was almost like a gift.
Now, you said that she's in the room, but we don't see anything but a black hole.
You want to meet her? I'll bring her on. Abby, come here.
She's like, why is mom sitting talking to a screen in a dark room? Is there a seance? Is there a seance going on?
The fans want to meet you. Come here. She just ate a red popsicle.
Ah, there's Abby. Wow. How are you? I'm Jim Masters. You're on the Jim Masters Show.
On the show too. She's a pretty famous actress herself.
Wow.
It's happening now live. Hello. You're on the show.
Yes, people are watching around the world.
Want to ask Abby any questions?
So,
Jim, any questions?
Yes. So, what did you do today, Abby?
I ate ice cream. I ate a red popsicle. I went to camp.
Your mom and I were just talking about how we want to go back to the times when we did all those things.
Get out of here. This is my show. Okay. Bye. Love you.
What got you, the camp, the popsicle, or the ice cream when you said, go away? If she didn't have that popsicle.
In my chair. She's so
Judy,
funny.
huh?
I'll tell you this. I would love secretly. I love being a stage mom. We have so much fun with her little acting things and her stuff. And, historically people poo-poo it and be like, don't put your kid into Hollywood. But it is, I think.
Look, they're all saying, hi, Abby, and hi, Abby. And, I like the way she literally exited stage left. She went back into the darkness.
She what was I going to even tell you? Oh, her on set.
Stage mom and all that thing. Yeah.
Her on set. She turns into like this professional. She listens. She doesn't listen at home.
She's a Katharine Hepburn.
I think she listens very well. And I think if any child can have the opportunity, if they like acting, of course, to get on set, I think they learn so much. Of course, as a parent, you have to make sure they're safe and this and that, the other thing. But I think all the fantasies of like, don't sit your kid into the Hollywood machine is silly because everything is so different now. It's really, there's so many opportunities for kids to have fun. And I actually do a lot of kids casting. So I don't see it as a negative, but I do want to monitor it to make sure that it's always something she wants to do, not something I'm projecting.
Tell us about the casting side of all this. You mentioned a little bit of it, but that's a big part of what you do as a casting director, huh?
I love casting. Can I tell you something? Casting is one of the only jobs where you're constantly matching people with their dreams and then getting the joy of seeing them joyful. Of course, there's people that you always want to succeed and to help that don't necessarily always get the part. But, my husband says it all the time, like, well, your job is good because you get to match people with their dreams. That's fun. Like, He's like fixing some audio on a lip flap of something. And he's like, nobody even knows what I'm doing. But that's, I think it's a very fulfilling career, casting. And I think it's very creative. And I think if you're like me and you do lots of different things, there can be different things you learn from whether you're doing a feature or whether you're doing digital or whether you're doing, I just finished for 6 months finding some new talent for Smosh, which is an Instagram group, and they're unbelievably talented. And I really fall in love with the people that I find. So it's a great job. I love casting. And the funny thing is, if I had to give it all up and just cast, I could do that and I would do that. But I look at all the other stuff, comedy, acting, all that stuff as just icing, as just like the lottery. Like, you're so lucky you get to do this. Like, I had lunch today with my good friend, Lisa Sunstead, who I mentioned to you, who you have to have on the show. She's fabulous pioneer for female comics. And I just said, how lucky are we that we get for our career to help people realize their comedic voice and all this kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't go by me. I see how lucky I am to get to be part of so many people's journey. And there've been a million people, lots of people.
Yeah.
Who have gone on to do lots of big things. So I have to sort of check myself to stay, outwardly giving and not giving with an intention for some outcome, because that's where the real joy lies, where you give and then let go of it.
How do you stay balanced, and how do you balance all of that frenetic activity and passion, enthusiasm, phones ringing, texts coming in, emails, blah, 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 blah. What do you do to sort of counterbalance and reset and get in touch with Lesley?
That is a great question, but we need to go get cocktails to talk about that. I thrive on the action. I think I put on my Instagram bio a Gloria Allred quote because I love her. When I was working at Conde Nast, she got into the elevator with me, and I just said, "Oh, Miss Allred, I just want to tell you, I'm a huge fan of yours, for whatever that's worth." And as she was leaving the elevator, she pointed back into me. She goes, "Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you." And she left, and the doors closed. And I was like, "That's sort of how I feel like with people. I only kind of feel alive when I'm helping other people. That's the truth. And I don't meditate. I don't do a lot of that stuff. And I need to. I think I probably need to like weave a lot more physical exercise and meditation and probably more spiritual practice into my life because the balance is a little bit off. The scales are like, I don't want to say scales because that's a scary word, but the scales are like that. But I do have fun. I joked around about it before, but I love to thrift shop. I love to go find treasures. I love to, game, and I love to play games with my kid, and I love to, any kind of
You're like on the hunt, which is like
Jeopardy.
you're on the hunt for the right person for the right role. You like to dig and hunt and look and find, and that's cool.
Ooh, I like the analogy because
Yeah.
I've always known that somehow finding the one of a kind treasure
Right.
does
In the
give me
thrift
some
shop.
sort of
Yeah.
relaxation. Like I know my husband loves the Giants, so I found this 1980 Giants sweatshirt with the tag still on, and I literally thought, I was like, it's going to be worth a lot. And I brought it home, and it was, of course, too small because in the 80s people were much thinner.
They were thinner.
on him. He's usually a large or extra large, but he can't understand it. But it is more psychology than you'd imagine because nobody cares. Like when I find my daughter like one of a kind, just like what you're talking about, old school games or toys or throwback stuff. It like I found these Sesame Street dominoes with Cookie Monster and Prairie Dawn and all the greats, and she's just like, ugh, she doesn't care. And I'm like, I spent 6 hours searching for that. I like your analogy. That is very telling and very true. It is. There's something about that.
Yes, right. You're always looking, searching. That's fantastic. It's funny, talking about humor. There was when we were in Florida, we were at the beach, and it was sunset. It was really beautiful. And there was this guy that was walking along the beach, which you see sometimes, with one of those magnetic things going back and forth, looking for jewelry in the sand or treasures in the sand. So we're walking along the beach, and the tide is coming in, and I'm sort of walking not on the sand, but actually through the tide because I want the water to sort of go over my ankles and my feet, and then the tide goes back in and out and that whole thing because I love the ocean. Growing up, out east on Long Island, around the water, being here along the coast as well. So the ocean's a big thing for me, very grounding and centering, and I like to be in it, near it. So the guy, just this random guy in Florida is doing his thing. He's all serious about it. And I had a silver watch on that was a family heirloom passed down, and some of those beads that you have that are sort of very popular now, healing beads, different things like that. It was kind of cool. So I see the guy, and just the way I operate, I'm always looking for a way to connect. Sometimes when you throw the line out, say you're fishing, sometimes you'll catch a fish. Sometimes the fish will look at the line and just keep swimming away. So I'm always throwing the line out, but I'm sizing up what I'm seeing. The guy, his movements, his expressions. Is he aggravated? Is he moaning? Is he not in a good mood? What's his scenario? And he looked like just a nice, everyday, average guy, spending time at sunset. People were at the beach all day, so maybe a few things did drop into the sand, and he's going to find his treasure. So he's sort of approaching as we're walking this way. He's coming this way, and eventually the two trains will meet. And as we were getting closer, my mind switched into find a connection, find something funny, do something that breaks up the monotony of him going with that magnetic thing. and also connects us for a split second.
Ooh, I
May
love
never
that.
see him again for the rest of our lives. He may never see us again, unless he watches the Jim Master Show and he's a lovety, which he should have been doing. I had the watch on and I had the beads. So as he's digging, for treasure, I just sort of leaned over and leaned in and brought my wrist right to his magnetic wand. It just went like this, like almost like, here, you found some things here. And he looked up and he just laughed because it broke up his day. Like if almost like his wand attracted me, pulled me over with my wrist, with the watch, the silver watch and the beads, just like, and almost like, he could have it in a way. And he just looked up and smiled and then went about his day. And the friends that were with me in the family, they were like, wow, I can't believe you just did that to a rant. You didn't know how he was going to react. You didn't know what he was going to do. Maybe he'd be like, get lost, or I don't think that's funny, but you got him to laugh, split second, look up, smile, laugh, and he continued. And I didn't interrupt his flow. He still kept going. But for a split second, there was this connection and it was humor. And he went and we went and it was fantastic. But it's casting the line and taking the risk, which there's something about that, knowing that you can fall flat on your face, but I like taking the risk. Maybe because my father has always said since we were kids that the ones that don't get the laugh are dreck. That's like, that guy's dreck. So
what you're saying, first of all, I love our how it's come full circle in our conversation, because when I joked around earlier and said that you love green because you're Emersonian, and now you're telling me you love the water and being near the water, and you wanted to connect with this guy.
Yeah.
Each and All, which is my favorite Emerson poem, which I'll send you too, just says like that guy and you aren't two separate people. You're all part of the whole. So your craving to connect with him is to connect with yourself, and not to get a little
no, it's true. No. I agree.
I think there's like, we can't always look for meaning in every interaction, but I've always, like you, Jim, believed that little moments with people can give you as much fuel or gas as spending 3 hours with someone. I think that's why I love new students and new classes so much too, is that whatever collection of childhood wounds that has brought that guy to that place and all your wounds that brought you to this place, that laughter and that moment is a release. It's a catharsis. It's an understanding. It's a mutual, almost like a wordless moment. And I think that you acknowledge and know that you love that is part of what makes you special. So, because like have intention, right? So I know a lot of people who are always saying, don't talk to somebody, or don't do this, or don't do that. They're afraid of exactly what your friend said, like that he may not receive it well, but it's not about the receiving. It's about what that does for you. And I think that is a taught thing too. People need to learn to really want to connect. People used to make fun of me at college because I would like inevitably befriend like a homeless person or befriend a person and be like, why are you bringing that guy a salad every day? And I'm like, well, there's this feeling I have when I connect with him and I give that to him. And it's not selfish altruism or even actual altruism. It's, we are supposed to connect with certain people and we don't know why, but when you know, you know. So I think that's beautiful.
I have relatives that actually have put in orders with me for me to do their eulogy. They've placed orders for me. You will be the one that does our eulogy. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to live to 110. Let's not even discuss the eulogy. But there's like a standby line of relatives that want me to do the eulogy, because I guess it touches everybody and everybody just gets the depth of it. And there's some humor and love and everything in there. And I like to feel. I like to go deep. I like to feel. My favorite question is not how, when, where, what, or who. It's why. Because I think when you ask why, you feel it. And when you feel it, then you can say, okay, well, then how and what and when and where and the nuts and bolts of it, the facts and the figures and the data of it. But when it's why, Lesley, why was that how you, a little bit of that. As much as I'm asking for the greater good, I'm also asking for myself to see how Lesley got through and what were some of the things Lesley did, and everybody else is on that train with me, sort of learning about Lesley. But as the conductor of the train, I am too, collectively. So I think it's it's just important to have the opportunities to connect with people as much as you can. I can't tell you how many times I've been on trains, especially with this one friend, trains, all kinds of things where you're in a restaurant where you have all these people around you, all these people. I mean, I think we were at the airport coming back from Florida with the family and friends, and we're seated at the airport, waiting for the plane. And there's all these people. They're getting lunch. They're dragging their luggage. They're looking at when their flight is. They're coming off the plane. They're going on the plane. They're sitting there looking at their cell phone. Life is happening all around us. And there's all of this. And I'm looking at their faces. And I'm looking at, the old grandmother over there. And the one that looks like somebody's uncle. And I'm like, and I'm always going, like this. Isn't it amazing how they're going about their life and we're going about our life, and we will never know who they are, what they're about, where they're going, where they came from,
Jim,
who they are.
You just did the definition of the first movie I ever wrote, which was about a train and about not knowing where you're going or coming and when you're ever going to see the people again. So I love that
And that's exactly what I say. I'll be like, well, look at that person. Look at that sweet face right there. We're probably never going to see them again, and they're never going to see us again. And how is it that their life is, they're standing, or like you're on a train and somebody's sitting right next to you, or on an airplane, they're right there. And sometimes you do get into, I do have where a lot of people start conversations with me and I'll respond, and we'll end up, passing the 2-hour flight in a conversation, which is awesome. But a lot of times you have the person there and you can hear them breathing and they're just right there. And you're like, this is never going to happen again. This person's going to go off to wherever they go, and they don't know who I am or what I'm about or where I come from or that I like vanilla ice cream or any of that. And the same for me about them. And I see it as I don't know what, like,
well, it's existentialism, as you know.
Yes.
I'm sure you would love to read Camus, and his idea that he always talks about is like somebody could be making love one place while somebody else is at the dentist, while somebody's at war. Like sometimes we'll have these, I know my husband will too, have these existential out of body things going, wait, we're people on a big globe that's sort of going around, like, what the fuck? Like, if we're not constantly conditioning our minds to be like, this is real, this is real, this is real, it can go to all those things that you're saying. And I think part of that is that you're an imaginative person and probably a fantastic writer because you want to understand everybody's story. But the reality is there's a part of your searching there is self-actualization. So I just love everything you're saying. And my good friend Ian Harris has a movie that is in production right now called Stand By, which is just about that. Like these ephemeral, which is one of my favorite words, these short-lived periods where you either can connect or not connect, and the choice is up to you. So the fact that so many people choose not to connect is so incredible to me and probably to you. And if you can just make that one little connection, I don't know what I'm thinking about. I'll never forget my stepfather when I was in my teens. He took me to an engineer convention. I was just a teen. I was hanging around, and I was spending the time or whatever. Maybe I was 1 year in college or something, and I was sitting in a lobby. This guy met me. I didn't know who this guy was. He thought I had beautiful teeth or something silly like that and wrote me a poem about teeth. And I kept the poem. I never talked to the guy again. We had like an hour and a half conversation. It wasn't, I mean, I guess it could be romantic if someone's writing you a poem about your teeth. I went back and found that poem years later. And I said, wow, that was a real, if you love Wordsworth, spot of time. That was a real moment that could have literally been avoided if I had averted his gaze or not taken a moment to connect with him. And I always am grateful. I wonder, are you out there? It was kind of a dark poem too. It's like the fuzzy or whatever. I won't finish the poem. But like I always joke around with my husband, if something doesn't happen, there's no memory. If you sit there and nothing happens, you're not remembering that. You're only remembering something if it happens.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. And sometimes one of my friends will be like, it's not meant to work that way. You're not meant to know everybody and have contact with everybody, and everybody's involved in everybody's lives, and everybody knows everybody, which is kind of interesting to look at it that way. We were playing tennis once, and we were near a highway where there's cars going. It was on a Sunday afternoon, and there were car and car and car, and every car had people in it going somewhere, coming from somewhere and going somewhere. Car, 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 car. And I was very conscious of that. But yet I'm like, we will never know those people. Where are they headed? Where are they going? Where they don't know who we are and we don't know who they are. Why can't they come off the exit? We know them. And he constantly says, that's not supposed to be how it is. You're not supposed to.
How far back does that go for you, Jim? Did you think about that when you were a little kid?
Actually, I think so. Yeah, I think so. In school, I think at school, I got along with everybody, all factions of different groups, always got along with everybody, always looked for ways to bring people together, different groups, different factions of school. And I think that's probably why I'm a host, why I'm a broadcaster, why I'm a communicator, as no matter who they are, where they come from, what they're about, height, weight, gender, income, political views, none, religion, no religion, any of that. Doesn't matter, as long as you are a good person and you want to have some fun and you want to learn something, be entertained, and not out to maliciously tear people down or any of that stuff. Come on over and let's have a party.
It's almost like, and we could talk for so many hours, and we don't.
And I'm a Libra too, so that's the balance harmony thing.
It's almost like you're a non-secular leader, religious leader, but with no religion. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing for you to even think about when you're ready to do your stand-up and stuff too. Is that you are bringing you're almost like Plato or whatever, Vox Populi, where you want everybody in the town square to be on equal footing. And that's just not how life is. That's just not reality. But in your utopian vision, you would love the fact that everybody could get along great. And of course, very few people, like I'm like that too, but very few of us want to make the effort to do that or to bring people together. And it does probably ultimately come from our own feeling of extrication, alienation, not being included, whatever that could come from. So, but we don't need to get into all that. But I think it's a beautiful quality, but you have to make sure you don't lose yourself in that too. And sometimes
you got to have boundaries. Yeah. You got to have boundaries.
Absolutely.
So much of all these lines of work have so much psychology involved, right? The human condition, understanding the human condition, the experience, appreciating it, which I think is a great thing. What do you think drives you to do what you do, to want to be out there, to want to be plugged in, to want to be connected, to want to have people feel good about themselves, make them laugh, make them feel accepted, welcomed, to lift them up, raise them up, which causes healing and empowerment at the same time that you're doing that? Is a lot of that happening full circle for you as you're doing it for others?
You're getting deep, Jim. I honestly can say that I think I do it because I'm really good at it. And I don't mean that in a pompous way. I mean, it's like in that way where that author says, if you do something for 30 hours, you become an expert, or 300 hours. I don't remember what it is. I have mastered, no, Jim Master is pun intentional. I have mastered helping people find their 5-minute comedy routine, whatever that means. Do I feel that people give back to me as much as I give? A lot of times, no. But recently, I have really appreciated and lauded the people who do make an effort for me. And when they do, it doesn't go unnoticed. So we could be this person isn't doing this and this person isn't doing this. What about the 20 other people that are? Like, a lot of times we focus on the person that's not giving us what we need instead of going towards that. Like, I called a childhood friend named Vanessa today out of the way. I was like, oh, this is what happened. My mother-in-law called me. You're going to laugh. Can you stop at CVS for me? And I go, I'm going to be on a podcast. I don't have time. She goes, stop at CVS for me. You don't want to hear the list. There was suppositories. There was enemas. There was KY jelly. It was like the most embarrassing CVS thing because she's having some continence issues, right? So I'm going through. She insists that I have her on FaceTime. I mean, you can't write the comedy. She's going, I need Mucilex. I don't want Miralax. It's yelling and it's on the FaceTime and not the big suppository. Little bit.
Did you get the sweet and low?
And I need gloves, but not latex gloves. And I was in my car and I'm going, that was the funniest thing ever. I don't know who would I want to tell that story to.
Yeah.
And I called my childhood friend, Vanessa Leonard, who I love so much. And she wasn't there. It was a time difference. She's in Philadelphia. And I left her a message. I haven't talked to her for maybe 6 months, but reach towards the people that you love that will give you what you need back. So
Yeah.
we can do a lot of outward giving and giving and giving.
Yes.
And see what we can gain from that in terms of learning and everything else, which is great. But then know your source, like know which fountain to go to, if you know what I mean. Like go to the right one.
Absolutely right. And that takes time and wisdom and experience, right? In the beginning and the early years where you want to be, you think you have to pull all the energy in and be at every party and every event and plug in with everybody and everything. And then you realize there's actually a few places and things and people that it's okay that you're not involved. You know what I mean? Because the energy isn't positive and it may be toxic or it just isn't working for you. And you have to sort of fine tune and tweak as you go along.
Absolutely. And I think that might even be a function of also this business, which is very
Yes.
popularity contest and the whole thing. You have to
Yeah.
drop all that.
Yeah.
And also you have to balance it, saying, well, I have this, but I don't have this. And if I wanted this, I don't have this. And also I always encourage people at all ages. I never think it's too late. So if at age 50 or at age 60, you want to go for it, go for it. Like the only person stopping yourself from anything is yourself. And you don't need anybody to align you or guide you anywhere. You just have to not quit.
Right. To validate. Nobody has to validate. You have to like what you see in the mirror. I'm just still thinking about the cashier at CVS and what her facial expression was when she rang out that order and saw that list of things.
I was ready for my close-up.
Wait a minute.
My brother-in-law was
Lesley Wolff that's buying this?
My brother-in-law was joking around. He's like, you were about to eat that. They probably thought you were going straight to the porn set. I was like, it was funny. And the button of the whole joke is then I call my mother-in-law and I go, oh, I'll drop it off on my way home. She's like, oh, I don't need it. I already have most of it. And I go, well, why would you go to CVS? You can order it from Amazon.
Did she do this just to play with you?
Anthony,
did she send you out to CVS to get all those things because she just loves you?
Nobody else could get those items. It was so funny.
I tell you.
And talk about that. She's done stand-up on my show. My mom has done stand-up on my show. I think you can do stand-up at any age,
yes,
any level of ability, anything. And it is a gift to give yourself. So for anybody out there listening who wants to take the class, don't think of it as a comedy class. Think of it as an opportunity to tell your story in front of a loving, welcoming crowd. Because I will tell you this without stuttering, there is nothing as satisfying as an audience laughing at you. It's addicting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly right. And making them laugh. And I was at Carnegie Hall one time, emceeing a big Christmas concert for a composer friend of mine who's done a number of PBS specials. And he brings in all of this exceptional talent from Broadway and TV and music. And, anybody was there. And I've been the master of ceremonies for several years now. And they didn't do it the last 2 years because of the pandemic, but full orchestra, youth choir, beautiful Christmas concert, New York City, the whole thing. So the tuxedo, and it's a fabulous event, and the audience is packed, and the New York crowd's having a wonderful time, and they're loving the music and the inspirational stories and just the whole Christmas vibe. And of course, at Carnegie Hall, it's the folks there, it's very structured. The master of ceremonies does not go back out until the white door opens. You go back out, you do your thing, then you come back in behind the scenes, the door closes, then the door opens again, and then the next singer or group or whatever comes out. It's very structured. So for some reason, again, casting that line, taking that risk, I said, I am so dying to throw this line out there during this Carnegie Hall Christmas holiday concert event. And I kept saying to myself, gee, should I not? Should I not? So here I am in the tuxedo, Carnegie Hall, beautiful orchestral music, singers, performers, musicians, fabulous holiday concert. Everybody's in a good, spirit, good mood. And here I come back out. Now I timed it that I would do it 50 to 60% into the evening versus right out of the gate or at the very end, about 50 to 60%. So I wrote all the scripts for all of the performers and did all the intros and the whole thing. They asked me if I could do that. So I did all that. So I was getting ready to have the big white doors open and be, go out with the orchestra behind me. They're all sitting there waiting to go with the violins and everything. The
Wow.
youth choir is all poised and ready to sing what's next on the program. And here comes Jim Masters, the master of ceremonies of this big concert, coming out to the lectern, smiling. Now I realize it's Carnegie Hall. I realize it's New York. And I come up to the lectern in the tuxedo, and they expect me to be the MC and continue with introducing the next performer, the next what have you. And I said, I'm going to do it. What the hell? I'm going to do it. Doors open. I come out, tuxedo, bow tie. Place is pin drop quiet because they're waiting for me to say what's happening. And I acknowledge everybody in the front row and towards the back of Carnegie Hall, smiling up at the balcony. And I looked at all of them and I said, aren't you glad you decided not to go bowling tonight? And as soon as I said that to the Carnegie Hall, New York audience, I said, let's see what happens. They're either going to go, what? At Carnegie Hall, you're saying this? Or they're a New York audience. They're going to get it and they're going to laugh. And the place erupted in laughter. And the musicians and the choir and my friend, who's the composer, who this is his big thing every year. When I went back, and I did that whole thing, and then I did the introduction for the next performer, and then they came out, they high-fived. I go in the back, the door closes, and like there's all these high fives, and even the crew, who are very stoic, and they're there, they don't really say much. They're doing their job there behind the scenes at Carnegie Hall. They were high-fiving, and they're like, oh my God, this never happened before. We love it. And I'm like, whew, shot taken, worth it.
Fun. I love that.
Aren't you glad you decided not to go bowling tonight?
I think that would be so intimidating going in front of a huge audience at Carnegie Hall. My God, I've been to Carnegie Hall and it's intimidating.
I loved it. It was a real challenge. It was like, I love sometimes when I'm thrown out in the fire and everybody on both sides, the audience and all the people that are doing their thing, are waiting for me to keep the train on the track, to keep things moving and maybe add in some of that levity to tie it all together. And from that point on, it also the audience was, because it's a Christmas concert, so the audience was already in a holiday jolly mood, but it made them even more jolly. They took a breath. They were like, Then they really just were laughing. It was just, throughout the whole rest of the show when I showed them, it was fantastic.
I'm sure you've heard of this before, but don't you need to step in where Regis Philbin stepped out? You have that, like we were joking around earlier about the Dick Cavett energy and a little bit of Alan Thicke. Like, I love your vibe. I love your energy. I'm always trying to say this, but like, I could see you on, not that you'd want to do a network morning show, but why not?
Yes.
Got that old soul vibe that very few people have. Like, I mean, Ryan Seacrest has it a little bit, not really.
Yeah. Now, it's funny that you pick that, because I say that I do give him props that he does have some of that sensibility. There is something about him that he's modern and current, but yet he still has that. The mentor, Dick Clark. I mean, so he's got that sort of understanding of. So some of the people that I always looked up towards or rubbed elbows with, Regis was somebody that I knew. People that made it and did it. Of course, Regis, I'm only one man. I am always saving the network. But, you can throw them out there and they can do anything. A shopping show, a game show, a news broadcast, sports, weather, stage emceeing. Just throw them out there, because everything now is so niche. You have to take this, stay in that lane, and you're just that. I was always trained, learn a little bit about everything, even when you're on set.
Yes.
Know what the makeup artist is doing, knowing what the lighting person's doing, talk to the script writers, know what the gaffer's about, the grip, all of it, and appreciate it and realize and get that team feeling that we're on a team, that every single one of us needs each other. Every single one of us has our specialty, but every specialty is a piece of a puzzle that then allows all of the rest to happen. So
Absolutely.
I love that. I'm very communal. I like being in a movie theater and we're all watching the Titanic sink. And during that fleeting moment, we're all feeling the same thing, connected, the human experience. So I do like that communal feeling. So I'm very conscious and aware of that on many different levels. And as calm, cool, and collected as it is, which is raw and real. I mean, if you would have seen me in the supermarket, it's pretty much the same as what you're seeing now. Inside,
Holistic in the produce section.
inside, it's I'm very aware of everything that's going on, and everything is all. I hear everything. I'm deeply listening to what you're saying. I'm sort of taking what you're saying, plugging in, and extending it with my responses, and very conscious of everything that's happening. But yet, it doesn't come off that way. It comes as calm and collected, and where everything's smooth and everything's meant to happen. Part of that's training, part of it's just who I am. And I love that dichotomy of inside is like a sport, the adrenaline, all the cylinders are firing, go, 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 go. Let's get it done. Let's make let's strive for the best and excellence. But at the same time, the outer is like, hey, let's have some fun. This is what was supposed to happen today. That set fell down. The guy fell off the chair.
I couldn't even log in originally, and I was panicking because I'm such all about being on time. And I knew and that's the kind of thing where when you have these minor obstacles that come above and you have to like understand that it's irrelevant. But like, I know you're probably the same way where you got to keep cool and just not panic, because it's the panicking that is your worst enemy. It's like a different person. So like, your calmness makes me at ease, makes your viewers at ease. And there's so many fires being put out constantly on live TV that we don't even know about, as you know, from your life.
Yes, right. Exactly. It's kind of like what I was saying, that if people just realized what it takes to even do the different things. But the key is to make it all seem easy, because people are consuming all of these things because they want to get away from their chaos, their frustrations, their nuttiness of life. So they want to go to where maybe things seem a little bit more less chaotic.
Maybe we need to do a modern day Mr. Rogers with you. That would be fun, where you have the calming vibe and you come in, you've got some kids on it, you've got some adults, you've got
somebody described me exactly in that term. They said the modern day,
like a modern day Mr. Rogers, Mr. Green Jeans, where that thing where you're an adult man, you're not Pee Wee Herman, you're an adult man who is able to bring everyone together, which seems to be like your life mission. Let's think about it.
yes. You know who would love that idea as well? Mr. George Burns. There he is. My aunt collected dolls, and when he turned that magical number, she was a serious collector, passed down on my mother's side. And there he is with the cigar. He's got a little martini below. He dips, he dips into the martini. He's sort of my associate producer. He's here. The I Dreamy Genie bottles behind us. We got a little Gilligan around here. We got Don Full of Love from Back to the Future, all sent by, like, the Gilligan came from Bob Denver's wife, Dream of Denver. The Genie bottle, the Don Full of Love, all came from, people in the industry. And here's George, and George is loving the conversation. Talk about, he pops on every once in a while. And what I think is really cool? And he says, you're knocking it out of the park. He loves the conversation. He relates to everything we're talking about. And he sends his love from him and Gracie.
Yay.
And what I think is really cool, you also said, which is very kind of you, you actually have been watching episodes of our series to get a feel for what is happening here. And I think I appreciate your doing that. You didn't just pop on, okay, what's this? What are we talking about? Okay, let me promote this. You actually wanted to get a feel for what it was that you were going to sink your teeth into. And I think that's cool. That's going the extra mile.
Well, I've really loved our conversation. Genuinely, as I look at the clock, I have to make my kid dinner soon. But our conversation was very. I love the depth of it and how genuinely us it was. We didn't come planned. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. You brought up lots of fun memories that I've had that I haven't thought about for years. And I think at the end of the day, what you and I both enjoy is conversation, and being a good conversationalist and being able to go on the different tangents and go on and off is a dying art. And I think people like you have to keep it alive, where people are stimulated and interested and wanting to hear conversation, because in this sort of social media, Insta story world that we're living in, people don't have the attention span to even be present to hear what people are saying. We talk a lot about this in my class about active listening. Like, a lot of times you're just waiting for somebody to stop talking so you can start talking. But once you stop making yourself talking the priority and really listen to somebody, that's a gift that makes you delve into areas of your life you weren't thinking about before. Otherwise, you're just completely blocked off.
Exactly. See, I look at it as this, even though the show is the Jim Master Show, or anything else that I do, even professionally in television, radio, or elsewhere, it's all about the we. It's about us. The whole thing is, it's not just about me. I know a lot of people tend to make everything about themselves. You know, I'm here, I'm the host. This is all about me, and whatever I choose to do, you must follow, and that's it. And catch you later. I want you to leave this like, whew, man, that was great. When do I get to come back on? And here's 5 people I want to send your way. And then
Of course, the one question is, did you draw your caricature at the top or no?
No, I actually
It's so
had
good.
a friend who is a professional illustrator who
Yeah.
happened to be working on a cover for Aerosmith as he was designing our logo. And he had said, because we had a previous one, and then we said, we really want to, about a year and a half ago, I said, I want to step it up.
Yeah.
New music, new open, new show, logo, the whole bit. So he gave me a couple of ideas, and he's in New Jersey. He gave me a couple of ideas, and he said, retro is very in right now, Jim.
Love
Retro is really popular. So he gave me a couple of sketches, and I said, here's the one I like. He gave me black and white, all these different. I said, I love this look, and with the microphone and JMS and the whole thing. So we went with that. And then I said, but I would love to find a way to have it pop out of the screen and have it animate like a show open. Said,
Yeah.
I'm an illustrator, but I'm not an animator. But my daughter is an animator. She's about 22, and she's doing some animation for the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and working with them. I'll
Great.
see if I can give her the illustration and she can find a way to bring it to life. So it's actually a merging of 2 things. The first part where you see the hand, the cartoon being drawn, and then all of a sudden it turns into the logo. They're 2 separate things. That was something completely different. That was the sketch of the Jim Master Show with the crayons and magic markers that he had done. And then the logo was created totally separately. And I said, is there a way we can blend the 2 with our theme song? So you have that happening, and then boom, it turns into the logo, and the logo pops out on the screen. And that's what we did. And
But see, it was notable to me because, like
and
you,
he gave me a family and friends discount too, which was helpful.
but you know, it's funny. That's the kind of stuff, working with people who make flyers, working with people who make logos. That's part of the fun of what we do too. And I would love to see you interview that girl who animates, because that's a fascinating thing. I would love to learn more about that.
Yes, exactly. It's an art form unto itself, isn't it?
I'm
This
obsessed
was
with artists.
this was really fantastic. I want to show you a couple of lovely comments here. Sherry
Okay, sure.
Larson, some of our real faithful here. Thank you, Lesley, for being here tonight. You're amazing. Enjoy this conversation. Please come back. Sherry's
will.
watching in Kansas, USA.
That's so
Got some
cute.
smiles coming in from Jane watching in Sweden.
Hi, Jane.
Kathleen Walker in New York City says, thank you for being here, Lesley. Fun conversation. Good luck with all you do.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Matter of fact, before you do scoot off and feed Abby, who's off in the dark pacing, saying she'll throw me off air and she's not going to feed me. What do you have coming up that you're excited about?
I'm excited. Well, I, of course, have the Fresh Faces shows, which I'm so excited about. There's one coming up February 5th. I have a new class enrolling in January, one in March. For anybody watching who thinks, hey, I'd love to do stand-up, you can take it from anywhere in the country. I would love to have you. And look out on Paramount Plus for Fatal Attraction. I play the head of the psychology department, which is going to be probably 10 seconds of your life you'll never be able to get back, but it'll still be fun. And
So apropos for our conversation tonight, the head of the psychology department.
exactly, typecasting. And I continue to be casting lots of commercials and digital things. So if you're an actor out there and you want me to take a look at your reel, or you want to send me your stuff, feel free. Should I give you my email? Just my name at Gmail, lesliewolff@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we've got the website there, wolffcasting.com.
Yeah, that's good. You can give
very nice.
Oh, I'll take it. Good.
Yeah.
But I genuinely respond to everybody who sends me their reel. I really do watch them. I've done a lot of work with acting schools and things like that. And people are always amazed, like, you actually took the time to watch my reel and give me feedback. I love helping actors succeed. And if I see something on your reel that could be getting in your way, I'll let you know.
One of the hardest things too is to make a reel, isn't it? Because, years ago it was on tape and it would be a 15-minute reel. Now it's like, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and you have to put the good stuff in there. And then I remember when I've done, I have demo reels as well for television, for commercials, for all different things. And one of the hardest things for me always was never doing all the work. It was then putting the reel together and fine tuning it and saying, okay, my God, of all this massive stuff that's been done, how do you know what to pick? What do you put first? Do you put the out of the gate best stuff first, or do you leave that for the big finish at the end? And
that's what I help people with. And I would answer all those questions. But even as you say that, do I leave it for the end? Absolutely not. Most people are only watching your reel for the first 2 seconds, deciding whether they like you or not. And a big mistake actors make. And I've been asked to talk about the do's and don'ts as a casting director, because I am so painfully honest that people sometimes it could be a little scary.
No, but it helps them. You
have a reel where you're so excited that you're with Johnny Depp in a scene, but your whole reel is Johnny Depp. We don't care. We need to see you acting.
Yes.
And it needs to be on brand. What do you mean by on brand? I tell people with that all the time. We might think we're these versatile actors who could do this and that. You're going to probably get cast in the same thing every time. So know your brand, not in a mean way, but I always get cast as like the bitchy academic leader. I always think I'm like the goofy, funny friend. So you got to know how you are perceived. And then you don't have to put every single thing you've ever done in your reel. Be particular and pick the things that are on brand with what you're doing.
Does it make sense to have somebody with you who's guiding you and saying, I think, an expert that says, I really think you should put this first and take that out? Or
if you have that luxury, absolutely. And I know I always am willing to help give people suggestions if they ask. But while I do mean that, I also think that you have to love your reel. Like, it has to be you have to, like, if you're looking and going, oh, here's my reel, it's not that good, then I don't want to see it. Like,
then it's not gonna,
good, and then let me see it. Because if you don't like it, I'm not gonna like it.
Smart thing. I love what you said as far as, if you're interviewing Johnny Depp, or he's with your, acting with him or something, and the whole thing is just him, they're going to be looking at him probably more than you. I used to, and I'll tell you one of my things, which I've learned because folks in the industry have told me, don't worry about that, because that's not really what they're looking at. I would also, again, coming from the industry and being a creator, I would also be looking at, gee, okay, I'm doing my thing and this is a clip of it, but I love the way the set look behind me, the lighting. I love that camera jib sweep in, and I love the pan that they did. And they're like, they don't care about the pan or the couch behind you or the chairs, or that you're.
I don't remember what we talked about earlier with advertising and subliminal. I'm not sure they're right. If you look gorgeous in a spot, even if you don't say a line, it might be worth including in your thing. If the quality of it is 4K, real TV show rather than the scene from your acting class, you do want to include that. So I think maybe your friend, I might go up against your friend with that, because if it's a really cool thing that is,
because that's the way I always thought, what you're talking about. If you're standing and you've got the Empire State Building behind you and you're doing an on location segment, that's fantastic if it looks good.
And what's funny now, I don't know if it's a positive or negative, but because of social media, anybody at any minute can look up your Instagram or look up your YouTube and get plenty of more video from you. So there's not this sort of precious, like, this is the only way I could see how this. And because of self-tapes, they can get a self-tape from you in a day and a half. So it's almost not, they're not even going to watch your reel anymore. They're going to send you the script, have you do the self-tape. They're going to decide in 2 seconds whether you're right or not. And that's that.
What about the whole social media world where, You do. I know there's been this dilemma, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, where you have these people who are the professionals who've put the time in, who've got the experience. They started out, working the midnight to 6 a.m. shift for $5 an hour spinning records. They've worked their way up to these great careers. And now you have somebody who can do a backflip for 30 seconds on TikTok, and they will get picked and selected because they have TikTok followers, but you've had a 25-year career working hard, blood, sweat, and tears, putting the time in, doing the right thing. And these two worlds of people, from what I hear, because I'm immersed in all of it, and I've always been plugged in with all of it, again, being the middle, bringing everybody together. And I'm hearing from this group and from this group, and I can understand all of the above, but I'm feeling for the ones that have done it, who are saying, wait a minute, you mean to tell me all I have to do is jump into my swimming pool naked and I can get a book deal and a movie, when I trudged through all these years of building and good, that whole farm system way of
we'll do a whole nother episode where we talk about this, because I do think that it's understandable for people to feel that way, but also not an excuse to not keep doing it and adapting. I think the worst thing people could do is just like fight against a trend that is popular. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to talent, whether you're an influencer or whether you're an actor who's been in the business for 20 years. So if you have the talent, and if you keep going, and if you have a positive attitude, we're all on level playing fields. If you are a TikTok follower in the comedy world and you have huge viewers, yes, you're going to get more opportunities based on the followers. I've cast a lot of things where I'm casting for hosts, and you have to have a minimum of 5 million or whatever to do that. I don't think that's a trend that will stay here forever, but instead of poo-pooing it or being mad at it, instead try to understand it and try to delve into at least the conversation.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter anything. It's all a learning curve, and it's all, I always said this, and I'll stand by it all the time. If you really want to do something, you should create it for yourself, because waiting for someone to give you that golden ticket is a little bit of an exercise in futility. But the options are out there, and it's all a mindset.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with everything you just said. It's so true. And you've got to be plugged into everything, and you have to adapt, and you have to grow, and you have to tweak and fine tune. Some of the most successful people have reinvented themselves, or they have found other aspects of who they are and have shared that. And I think, it's lifelong learning. So I think it's cool. And it's also exciting to dip into some other areas too. So spot on. This was a fantastic conversation that went in so many different directions. And I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Lesley.
I have, for sure. And I can't wait to see you again and to welcome you in LA, and come out to the show on February 5th. You'll have fun.
Absolutely. And of course, our dear friend, Elaine Ballas, we would be remiss to not acknowledge her. She's a beautiful spirit and soul. Absolutely, as well. Now, of everything we talked about, the thing that people really want to know the most is, what are you going to have for dinner? What are you going to make for your daughter?
First of all, this was a lovely conversation, but a longer one than I anticipated. So she is, if we're going to circle back to the pasta, probably going to have some spaghetti.
You might want to turn the lights on to do it.
The water's boiling.
You're the best. High five.
Love meeting you.
You as well, Lesley. Spread the word about the Jim Master Show. We'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime. And thanks for this rich conversation, all the levity, all the lovity, and truly enjoyed it. And I wish you continued blessing and joy in your life. And let's stay in touch. Okay, my friend?
For sure. Thank you. I really feel honored that you had me on today. Thank you so much.
New friend made for sure. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye now. Lesley Wolff is going to make dinner right now, and it's going to be pasta. Something quick and easy, as Abby has been circling the kitchen in the darkness saying, when do we get to eat? When do we get to eat? The water's been boiling for a half an hour now. I want that pasta. Wasn't she terrific? Not only did we have a lot of fun, she's a stand-up comedian, she's an actress, and so much more. You learned a few things too, which was really great, about some of the insider tricks of the trade and how it all works, and to be authentic and to be real and to express yourself. Whatever it is you do in life, enjoy it. Make the most of it. Life is short. Life is precious, as we always say. And even though she and I might be in these industries where we have lights, camera, and action all around us, whatever it is you do, give it your best shot. Keep at it. Do something that you love, no matter, whatever it is. You may think it's the most irrelevant, basic thing on the planet. Not at all, because everything that everybody does and the simple things in life all plug into the puzzle. And I think it's important. So whatever it is you do, share it with the world. And thanks for stopping by our show. We always have a great time. These conversations, poignant and with entertainment and the levity, they go in so many different directions. And I, as your host, sometimes don't even know where they're going to head. And I think that's cool. You know what I mean? That's why I don't call these interviews. Some people say, oh, I'm going to be interviewed. In a way, yes, got that interview structure, but it's not really like an interview because we didn't just talk about the book deal and the film and then we're out. It's really about weaving those things into conversations about life. So I learned something, the guests learn something, and they feel like they express themselves. And you, as our viewers, the consumers of all of this material who are here religiously day in and day out with us, which we thank you for and appreciate very much, you feel like you're connected, you're plugged in, like you're getting something out of what we're saying and doing as well. So you're kind of like our virtual studio audience. If we were in a situation in a studio at a network or a TV station, radio station, or stage setting, you would be the audience and you're interacting, you're commenting, we're responsive. I just think it's really cool. And let's take a look at some of that. Thank you very much, Kathleen, watching there in New York City. Kathleen Walker, she says, great show. And Christine Clifton watching in North Carolina. These are some of our faithful lovedies who have been with us for years, and we love them all. Thanks, Jim and Lesley, for a wonderful conversation. So deep and fun. Wish Lesley much success in her future projects. Great evening in Lovety Hall. Absolutely. Christine watches in North Carolina. And Sherry Larson says, thank you, Jim, for such a wonderful conversation. She's a very interesting lady. Thank you for all you do for us, Jim. You're totally amazing. Heart, heart, heart. Thank you very much. Sherry watching all the time. She even shares the links to our episodes on her social media pages. She's one of those lovedies that, spreading the word about our series and sharing the links on her social media, which I think is a beautiful thing to do. Don't forget, you can support us with super chat, super emoji, super stickers. That's in the Lovely chat room when the shows are live, or on the YouTube channel. There's a little heart icon, super thanks. And you can support the series 24/7. Don't forget to give us a like and a thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode. Yeah, there's a big thumb that looks like that. Make sure you click the one that's pointed up. Definitely click the up one. That's the like. Leave a comment on the YouTube channel. We're very responsive. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That's where this episode and hundreds more are housed for your viewing pleasure and enjoyment. And you can share the links on your social media. Spread the word. It does take a village. Now, around here, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, sláinte, moi loop, hasta la vista, buenas noches, cheerio, shalom, and take care and be well. A couple more comments, and we will head out. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Yes, we did go to the post office, and we retrieved 2 big boxes. That one of them is from you. We got to open that. Thank you. That's, I know, a holiday gift you sent. So many of you sent holiday cards and boxes and gifts. I really appreciate that. We just got back from the family trip in Florida with our family, and we're opening all that up now. The post office was going nuts. They're like, we've got all this stuff on hold for you, Mr. Masters. You've got to come. So we have it all. We're going to open that up. And Kathleen, thank you in advance for what that may be. I can't wait. And there's one from Maureen in Arizona too. We appreciate that. Thanks for this enjoyable evening together, Jim. A really fascinating conversation with Lesley. Good night. Lovely hugs. Thank you, Christine, as well. Don't forget, you can binge watch the episodes of the Jim Masters Show series. Don't forget to enjoy that. Want to let you know that Sam Lowe is going to be joining us soon country music singer, songwriter extraordinaire. And we have so many, we're booking all the way into February already with incredible guests just for you. I have an early flight to California at 8 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time. So we're going to get to bed early, but thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being with us. Hope you enjoyed something, got something out of our show. We will be here with you next time on the next episode. Check our YouTube channel for all the great episodes. We thank the incomparable Lesley Wolff for joining us, not only stand-up comedian, but also casting director, actress, and an all-around fabulous person. Stopping by the Jim Masters Show for all of you. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. We appreciate you being with us. Stop by, come by and see us again soon. Spread the word about our show and all these cool things that we're doing. And the Christmas set is looking good. We stretched it out in a few more days past the holiday for the beautiful Christmas set for all of you. All right, gang, we got to head to California. I'm thinking of Lucy, Ricky, Fred, and Ethel. California, here I come. We're going to be doing that. Thank you, Sherry Larson and Kathleen. And all of those who are watching, we hear from so many people, not just the folks that you see that pop up in chat, these names that you see, some familiar names as well. I hear from so many people. We get so many emails and so many Instagram messages, Facebook messages, and Twitter messages and tweets and all kinds of things. Emails from people from all around the world. Some of them are, are in the industry. They're watching our show and they enjoy what we're doing. But from past guests who want to come back on, viewers as well. And if you send an email to us, thank you very much. We're going through everything. We'll try to get to everybody as quick as we can. It does get a little overwhelming sometimes, because everything is so busy with this show and then with my work professionally in the industry and TV and radio. But I just thank everybody for all the enthusiasm for what we're doing here. What we're doing is something a little different and unique, and it's kind of cool. Sort of old school, like Lesley was saying, talk show legend type of vibe with a modern twist, a modern vibe of today. And that's what it's all about. And if you look back at the archives, we've had guests that come in from all walks of life, all different celebrity friends, from television and music and film and stage and Hollywood and Broadway and inspiration and authors. And we're not just about one niche. We're about life. And we've done pop-up shows and holiday shows and celebrations. And I even sent you a Happy New Year message when we were at the beach in Florida. Plugged in, always being plugged in with everybody. Amy, it's so nice to see you as well. The wonderful poet Amy is here. Love this show. Great job, Jim. Thank you very much. We appreciate that very much. And it's so good to see you. And thanks for stopping by. All right, gang, we love you all. We'll see you on the next episode. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show. When you help us grow, that really helps us big time, and really, really appreciate everybody that does that. So we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours of content. We get thousands and thousands of views every single day on our channel. It's extraordinary. It continues to grow. We welcome all the new folks who have subscribed to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, whether you just did right now on this episode, you did yesterday, you did 2 years ago, or you did on day one. Thank you so much for that. That helps us grow as well. And it means the world to me and to us here at the Jim Masters Show and Lovely Hall. Kathleen Walker in New York says, this show is unique and you are special. That's why it's so wonderful to be here. Thank you very much, Kathleen in NYC, the Queen of Queens. Remember I used to call you that? The Queen of Queens? That's it. That's what you are. Sherry says, good night, all. Lots of hugs and love. Sweet dreams. Thank you, gang. Again, thank you for all the packages, all the letters, all the Christmas cards, the candy, the gifts. I mean, it's really amazing. And we're opening everything now before we head to the television project in California. Got a lot of great shows coming up next week as well. Some amazing guests. And we're working hard behind the scenes for all of you, which we've been doing for almost 3 years now, which is quite amazing. It really is amazing. So glad I turned on the lights and we decided to do this series. many moons ago, and we're still here today with all of you and welcoming new people all the time from around the world, guests and lovely viewers. All right, gang, you be well. Take care of one another, love one another, and don't forget to, we'll throw this in here. We've always shown this once in a while. Don't forget to relax. Love one another, take care of one another, and don't forget to take time for yourself and relax. All right, gang. Busy day as we fly off to the West Coast tomorrow, but we'll be here for you with more great episodes of the show. Thanks for sticking with us. And yes, it's time to eat and relax. It's 3:15 a.m. in Sweden, where Jane is. So she's going to take a nap, or she's going to just go to bed and sleep. Go to bed, Jane. Get some sleep. And you guys, check out the next episodes, and we'll see you again. All right. We love you all. Take care. Thanks to Lesley Wolff for stopping by. Thanks to you and you and you and you for stopping by the Jim Masters Show. We'll see you on the next episode. Be well. And as we always say, cheers.